All right, so golf is a lot like music, guys. It's a lot like music. There is a rhythm to it. That's the only resource I really use to teach. I wanted to show you that. It's the back side of the original hole sponsorship sign. The back side of it, I held up once upon a time cheering at an event, for sure. So that acronym WIN that I came up with, W-I-N, means what if not? What if not? What if not? Meaning that we want to live a life that is without regret. Mr. Pooh is out there being a very good boy. He is our target right now. Mr. Cocobontitis is working on his tennis ball. Again, this channel is for the beginner, the novice. I want to steer you towards a field. I want you to get a shag bag, and I want you to find a field to practice in. I want you to get in as many repetitions as you possibly can with the equipment that you have. And I want to encourage you to maintain uniformity, if at all possible, with the balls that you practice with, right? I want you to get your steps in. I want you to walk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, just the way the game is played. That way you're constantly training your body. I wanted to steer you towards the noodle. I'm a thinker. I am a thinker. I want to use my noodle. Golf is mental. To a degree, it is mostly physical. They say golf is all mental. No, it's not. Let's go walk 36 holes. Let's see who is still standing after walking 36 holes in a Charleston summer, for example, when the heat index is 115 degrees. All right, golf is a little bit mental, but we're athletes, sports fans, and it's pretty physical. All right, this is a mashie, right? Hillerich and Bradsby was the manufacturer. My last name is Hiller. I always thought that it was kind of cool that my name was in Hillerich and Bradsby. Kind of fun. Notice that, remember, the golf club itself is a shoe, so you have a toe, a heel, and a sole. Notice the thinness of the original technology, which is the best game improvement technology available on the market today, because if you hit your mashie or your mashie niblick or your spoon or your jigger, for that matter, you're gonna feel a golf shot. And then you can go back to your modern clubs, and I guarantee you that your tempo will be improved just by simply swinging a hickory golf club. True story. Right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the club today. This is a 50-degree gap wedge with a 7-degree bounce. I want you to notice how thick that is. That is pretty thick, guys. There's a lot more mass on the bottom of that club. This is one that I have modified. It's a 60, which had 8 degrees of bounce. The leading edge is significantly thinner, right? I want to bounce a basketball. I do not want to bounce a golf club. This is a 60-degree wedge, which had 10 degrees of bounce. Notice the thinness of it. You don't lose any distance when you modify these things in this manner. I will never go back to anything off the shelf. I understand there's, a lot of different grinds out there these days. Anyhow, milling wedges is an art. You're going to find out that that reduced gram weight in your club head of your scoring wedges is really, really, really going to give you a lot more options around the green, out of deep rough, and especially out of the greenside bunkers, for sure. And I'm not, there's a lot of different philosophies out there as far as teaching and instruction and whatnot. So just through much pain and suffering and blood, sweat, and tears, I'm kind of just going to stick to my guns as far as what itty bitty little bit that I've learned, and I don't plan on quitting anytime soon. So, what's up with the dogs, you ask? So I had Zoe for about 13 years. She was my little female pit bull buddy, and she never missed a day of practice, So it's just fun for me to make sure that I get out here and get some work in, for sure. And it's just not me all by myself, And again, golf can get very, very expensive, guys. So there's ways to ball on a budget, and I would encourage you to keep balling on your budget, And I hope you guys find inspiration, I really, 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 really do. So I guess that's the lesson for today, is get yourself a hickory club. It's the ultimate game improvement technology available on the market today. You cannot reinvent something that never needed reinvention. Okay? And I guess I'm just letting the cat out of the bag as far as the thin club face not the thin, it's not a thinner, it doesn't affect the club face at all. It's just less mass on the sole of the club, and you're going to like it more once you take my advice. And scoring becomes a lot easier, especially around the green and on tight lies, so you're not jarring your back for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years with a bunch of extra gram weight on the sole of the club on your most delicate shots. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I'll demonstrate a little bit. I'll just hit my 56 degree, which probably only has like maybe 3 degrees of bounce at the most. So it makes the club head a little bit lighter. It may change the swing weight a little bit, but who cares? I want to have a light feel around the green. I want to be able to feel my hands more. I want to feel the shot more. I don't need all that clunk down there at the bottom of the club. It's not helping anybody out. So, and history repeats itself. So, I guess I'm just, I don't know, bringing sexy back or something. I don't know. And I'm not being cocky. So our target's like about 30 yards away. I have not hit any shots today except for a handful of shots with the hickory club. So in our very first lesson, we talked about the importance of that millisecond at impact, right? So I want to reiterate that. So if you're playing tennis and you take your eye off the ball, you're not going to hit the kind of shot that you really want to. You just really need to stay down and through. Golf's a little different because we don't really have anything to react to, but we still want to play in a way that we feel as if we are reacting. We don't want to be tense and stiff. We want to be loose and relaxed. Again, I mentioned strike the match, right? I mentioned strike the match. So if we have a match book and we drag it very slowly, it's not going to light, right? So that slow drag is a decelerating move, right? Where we don't brush, we don't accelerate. We always want to keep the club accelerating. And I would encourage you to be very slow and deliberate in your backswing, right? Strike the match. That's what we're talking about. All right, so golf is a lot like music. Golf is a lot like mathematics. You will never hit the same shot, ever. There are an infinite number of combinations, environmental elements. You're never, ever, ever going to hit the same shot, right? And I would encourage you, especially starting out, to really, really enjoy the bad shots, because you can learn a lot from the bad shots. So my philosophy is that there's no such thing as a bad shot, right? It's just something that you can learn from. And it's certainly, there's no reason to throw a club. There's no reason to, do anything other than be thankful that, hell, we're above the divots, man. You know what I'm saying? We are above the divots. Remember, a chip is a putt with a flying start, right? So we're going to hit a little chip first. Don't really care where it goes. We're going to get this one a little bit higher in the air, so it's going to be more like the pitch that we talked about. Now we're going to open the club face up a little bit, and we're going to hit what is commonly known as a flop shot, right? So the only thing you want to do with the flop shot is when you open your face up, you want to make sure you open your stance up on the same line and just swing on the line of your feet, just like you do with every other shot, right? So that's like your super important alignment tip, right? The only thing that you have as a reference point for alignment is where your feet contact the turf, right? That's why you see a lot of people put a club or an alignment stick down to see where their feet are aiming, right? So keep that in mind. Like, if you can train your body and mind to swing down the line that your feet are on, it's going to be a excellent barometer of hitting the ball straight. That's the goal, man. Like Payne Stewart, he was in one of the first long drive contests, and he got out driven, and they were like, you don't really hit the ball that far, Payne, and he was pretty confident, borderline cocky, and who can blame him with a game like that? But he said, man, I don't get paid to hit the ball long. I get paid to hit the ball straight. So put that in your back pocket, You hit the ball straight. Who cares about distance? It ain't that important. It's really not, if you think about it. I'd rather be 100 yards behind a guy that hits his tee ball all over the map. I'd rather be 100 yards behind him in the fairway while he's over there flirting with the woods or whatever. It's not a game of distance, guys. It's really not. Even on a 7,000-yard course or more. Again, open face, open stance, swing on the line. And strike the match.